about stages of envy. But before we actually get into the stages, I want to differentiate jealousy from envy. Jealousy, for the most part, is a common human emotion. I would hypothesize that most people have had moments of jealousy. Jealousy is simply rooted in wanting something that someone else has, especially once we've come to the realization that it's something that's difficult for us to attain or it's just out of our reach altogether. And also, what differentiates jealousy from envy is jealousy is often fleeting. So when a person is harboring feelings of jealousy towards another individual, they're also able to acknowledge other aspects of their life that they're grateful for, or other positive attributes and characteristics that they can acknowledge that other people admire and that they admire within themselves. However, with envy, a person becomes fixated on a particular individual at large. So it's not just a matter of wanting what someone else has, but it's wanting to embody the individual altogether. And a lot of the time, jealousy is almost a prerequisite or a precursor to someone entering a state of envy. And once a person has entered a state of envy, most of the time, I would say it's to the point of no return. So yeah, let's just hop into the different stages. So the first stage that an envious person will experience is actually admiration. So they will admire something about their subject of envy, or like their quote unquote target. They will admire a particular attribute, or, they would admire a particular, position that they may have. Whatever the case may be, something about this particular person, it stirs up feelings of inspiration, admiration, and even adoration. However, once the person starts to become consumed with whatever this person has, their target has, or how they carry themselves, how they look, or who they're in a relationship with, whatever the case may be. Once they start becoming consumed with it, it shifts from admiration to coveting. So now it's not just them looking at a particular attribute or admiring a characteristic, or looking at a relationship and being like, wow, I aspire to have a relationship that's similar. Now it gets to the point where they want that particular thing. In this coveting stage, what the person will do, what the envious person will try to do, is live vicariously through their target. And once they realize that trying to live vicariously through their target isn't successful, then they reach a competitive stage. So now what they're going to start doing is they're going to start trying to outperform their target, upstage them, outdo them, and it's going to start becoming tick for tack. So whatever their target does, they're not only going to try to emulate it, but they're going to try to do it bigger and better. They may even try to do certain things first. This is where you'll start to see them becoming a little bit more conniving and cunning. They'll start to infiltrate their, subject of envies, friendships, intimate partnerships, mutual friends, to figure out what their next move is going to be. And then they'll start doing little things like try to jump the gun. So they'll try to do that very thing, but do it before the other person. And once an envious person reaches this state of competitiveness, that's when they're going to start to pose more of a threat. And that's where their relentless nature is going to start to rise to the surface. So following the competitive stage that an envious person will experience, they will enter a state of jealousy. Hence why at the beginning I differentiated jealousy from envy. And here's why. Or now I'm going to provide an example as to why. So the jealousy typically follows the competitive phase once the envious person realizes that competing with their target hasn't been successful. They haven't attained that thing. They haven't been able to, outperform their target, or they just haven't been able to get people to shift their attention from the target onto them. So what will now start to happen is the envious person, when they're in this jealous stage, they'll start to become more petty. Like what I said earlier, more conniving, more cunning, more crafty. Now, following the jealousy stage, once a person has surpassed the jealousy stage, they've now entered the envy stage. And this is where they become so consumed with their subject of envy that their behavior starts to become irate, impulsive, and irrational. So it's a bittersweet situation to be in if you find yourself being the target of this person's envy, because a lot of the time when they enter the state of envy, their behaviors will cause them to self-sabotage. But before they reach that point where they do self-sabotage, you have to endure an immense amount of criticism, attacks, and just a lot of schemes that are uncalled for. You'll be like, okay, why is it not enough for this person to see me just step back? Like, why are they so concerned with constantly coming after me, coming for me, and jeopardizing and sabotaging everything that I have, even if I have less than them? It's not enough for them to see you down and out. They want to make sure that you're out of the way completely. They don't want you, it's not even about you succeeding past them. They don't want to see you have anything once a person has entered a state of envy. So, now that I've briefly explained the different stages of envy, I also want to encourage people that understanding, the signs and even, certain characteristics within an envious individual is not enough. So one thing that I do talk about often is every envious individual doesn't have the same pick of poison, meaning that their delivery is going to be different. You may encounter an envious person who is more upfront with their dislike towards you, and you may encounter an envious individual who is more discreet. It's important for you to learn what each envious individual's strategies and tactics are. Additionally, it's not just enough for us to know the signs, to know the different types of envious individuals and the strategies that they use, but also what we can do to preserve ourselves, whether it be to preserve our sanity, because going back and forth with the envious person, it can be taxing on you mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, even physically. It could start to lead to like physical repercussions. It's important for us, like I said before, it's important for us to learn what we can do to preserve our mental well-being, our physical well-being, and just overall our progress in life. And I want to plug a resource here that is available on Amazon. You can either get a physical copy or you can get a ebook. And this dissects and it covers everything that I talked about so far. Not only different signs of envious individuals or how to detect an envious individual in your life. Additionally, the different types of envious individuals and their strategies and tactics, but also what you can do to implement prevention and intervention strategies. So I've included the screenshot here. Let me know in the comments, what your experiences have been with envious individuals, and also if there's any other questions, comments, or concerns that you all had, or a particular video that you all would like to see next.